What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today's video is going to be about Gunnar's Collective and I. My channel started July 15, 2017. I didn't put out any videos at that time. I think it was, shortly after that. But it was 2017, and so it's almost 8 years that my channel's been out, right? I'll tell you that the first 4 years of my channel, 4 years and some change, maybe almost 5 years. First almost 5 years I was on YouTube. As far as the prison genre, which I've never considered myself a part of. And I know people are like, what? That's all you talk about. I talk about my life experience. Unfortunately, I made poor decisions as a kid, as a teenager, and it led me to jail and to prison, California Youth Authority, everything else, right? So, but I was everybody's favorite. Never had no beefs. Nobody talked bad about Dubs. And Gunnar put out a video. Gunnar put out a video talking about when the Northerners got to Nellis. And one of my homeboys called me. And he was like, hey, Holmes, you ever heard of this channel? And I said, I've heard of this channel. Yeah, what's up? And he said, hey, this vato saying that the Northerners went to Nellis and they were doing their thing over there, this and that. And so I made a video. And my video was basically Northerners did get there, and Gunnar was telling the truth. They got there and they were able to stay there. They were on the dorms with everyone. They were going to the school area with everyone. Unlike when they went to Paso and unlike when they went to YTS. And there were a lot of, Nellis dudes that were upset with me. But how can you be upset with the truth? Be upset with a lie, not the truth. I wasn't putting homies down. But anyway, so I co-signed that because it was the truth. And, this stuff, believe it or not, it goes down in history. And these videos are a part of that history. And let me see the name of my video, for those of you that want to see, that's back, a long time ago. It's called The Infamous Nellis. At least the thumbnail says that, right? I'll put it up. And, I did my video and I moved on. It was probably about a year later. I mean, it's been minimum 3 years now, right? So probably about a year after I made that video about Nellis, maybe even 9 months later, somewhere around there, Gunnar and I actually hooked up, right? And I believe we did a live together. I jumped on their live, I think it was, and initially everything was cool, but it took probably about a month into that where the hate started. And a lot of people don't know the origin of the hate for Gunnar or myself, right? So let me let you in on some stuff. I never had any hate until I hooked up with, started doing content with Gunnar. Gunnar had a lot of people around him that he was trying to assist, trying to help. And Gunnar was doing the majority of the work for them. It seemed like they didn't notice it and they didn't appreciate it. It almost seemed as though they expected it. And coming from our backgrounds, our environments, when you do something for somebody and then they expect that, it creates friction. And so I was brought in during that time, right? And I noticed certain things. Didn't say nothing. I was right there. But the seeds of hate were planted by those that Gunnar was trying to help. And those individuals did not like the fact that I was from Southern California and that Gunnar and I, not only were we making content together, but we were getting a lot of views. We were making money. And instead of people taking a step back and looking at what is Gunnar doing right and what is Dubs doing right, it was fuck both of those guys. Which was a recipe for disaster for them. And, to this day, there's some of them that, they think that we don't know, but the people who they planted seeds in were asked by other people, hey, what did this all start behind? And they all said the same name, one person. And Gunnar and I have never said who the name is. And, we played dumb, but it was a shame. So that was when everyone decided to go in on Gunnar and I. Several of them told me, we're only going in on you because you're cool with him. And since then, I have become their main focus. This video is basically, yesterday, Gunnar and I did a video on an individual. I'm not going to say his name here. You guys saw the video yesterday. We both did a video on someone. I did it for my reasons. There's other people that make the same type of content, talk about the same organizations as that individual, but they don't do it as a personal attack and act like they've been there, they know the people, and that's my problem with it, right? And this person, honestly, I've conversed with several Northerners that did time with this person, and he's basically the Mexican Wes Watson. He was in Arizona, he was in Oklahoma. He claims to be a shot caller everywhere he was, and he wasn't. And I don't, it's not my intention to continue to go in on that person. People believe in him. That's fine. Eh? There's a lane for everybody. But if he talks about someone that I know personally and he slanders that person, I may say something again. If he says something and it doesn't involve people's wives and families, then I probably would stay out of it. Because we were raised not to involve people's women and children and their families. But anyways, Gunnar and I did a video yesterday individually on a specific person. Then we went live, and as we were live, we were told that, someone else was just going ham on us. They couldn't stop talking about us. And this is someone who I have never disrespected, someone who hates Gunnar for a reason that he concocted in his own mind, right? And I tried to mediate some type of truce between those two because it made no sense. And that was 2 years ago. And it didn't work. I tried. And last night I tried again. I said, man, let him on. Let him on the live. And it turned into a clusterfuck. It was an individual getting on thinking, oh, this is my opportunity to make a scene and then get people to follow me. The reality here is this. I have been on the phone with Gunnar every day, basically, talking about ideas, talking about our lives, our families, relationships. We are friends. We formed a friendship. And during that time, I like I said, I saw people fall off. And, I see people make up stories out of complete thin air, not only about me, but about him. And they'll talk about things that I'm aware of because I talk to him every day. And I'm not going to get into them, but I just trip out like, what is the basis of the hate? And I believe the basis of the hate is jealousy and envy. Because I know for a fact, Gunnar came out of pocket for a lot of those dudes. Treated them right, took them out. They went places, and Gunnar would I got this. And then it turned to me, right? And unlike Gunnar, I didn't hang out with those guys. So I didn't give a fuck. They decide that, I'm a bad guy for no reason other than I kick it with Gunnar, I fuck with Gunnar. That's fine, right? And as I was saying, last night we have a guy jump on the live with us. And I tried to mediate a truce because there's never really been an issue. And again, it backfired. But this video was just to make sure that people understand. Like, everyone who has taken shots at us, it doesn't do anything to our momentum, our success. You can't build a platform based on hate and think it's going to prosper. Hate kills. It doesn't live. It doesn't grow. It infects the one who's promoting it. That's their baggage. So until these individuals figure out how to connect with people based on their own merits, they're going to fail. They're not going to create beef between Gunnar and I. They're not going to stop our growth. We're going to continue to win. Thanks to our subscribers. People say, oh, Dubs is running out of content. I get tired of talking about prison every day. I did a video the other day that to me was very poignant, right? It was very meaningful. And it was about dealing with grief, losing a loved one or a friend, a family member, whatever. And that video didn't get any views. But the people that watched it, it meant a lot to them. And so every now and then I do those videos. And you'll see it won't reach 10,000. Sometimes it won't even reach 5. But it reached hearts. And that's important. If I do a video and I put a title, like today I'll probably put a title where, beef between Dubs and Gunnar. And watch how many people click on it. Because people want to see Gunnar and I fall off. People want to see beef. People love the distraction of hate. Gunnar and I are going to continue on our path, man. And we're thankful for those that join us on this journey. We don't know what's in store, but we're having a good time on the journey, man. So that's my video for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.